And welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I thought I'd do a final video about one of the items I picked up at the Portland Retro Gaming Show. No, it's not this Vectrex. This is mine, which I've owned for a couple of years. Love the Vectrex, fantastic machine, and I've kind of shown a few of my other consoles, but I've referenced my Vectrex a few times and haven't actually shown it, so I thought I'd show it off. But the actual item that I wanted to discuss was this driving controller, which if you check on my Portland Retro Gaming pickups video, this is kind of, it's in the screen capture of me holding it up to the screen here. I had bought this, as mentioned in that pickups video, because I had heard that Tsunami uses the driving controller. But when I first tried to plug this into the Vectrex, it wouldn't go in all the way. I was going to force it, and I thought, oh, I better do my research here. So I have done so, and I wanted to follow up, show that yes, it does work. Yes, it does work with Tsunami, but what I had to do to make it work. And there's a couple of steps here. First of all, Tsunami, for anybody who doesn't know, is a homebrew version of Tempest. And I'll just give it a very quick go of the normal play style here. So if I choose to play the game with the joystick, you go around, you can shoot. It's slower than actual Tempest, and that's actually a good thing. Maybe that's because the Vectrex can't quite handle the speed of real Tempest. But to be honest, that will work out very, very beneficial with that controller, and I'll show you why in a minute. So yeah, you do your shooting, and number 4 fires your shots, but number 3 is your super zapper. So if I want to clear everything on the screen, I just hit number 3, and they're all dead. Very, very good rendition of Tempest. Pretty happy with this game. Really, really like it. But when I heard Vectrex Rolly mentioned on his channel, and I had put a link before in my pickups video for Vectrex Rolly, when he mentioned you could play this with the driving controller, I thought, okay, that's definitely the way to go, because using the joystick for moving around it's not really the best. It doesn't replicate the game very well, or at least not if you want to go for a real Tempest experience. But how to get it to connect? First of all, I was doing it wrong. I thought this would plug in to the number 1 player port in there, but that's not actually the case. It actually goes into the number 2 player port, so that was the first thing that I learned. Secondly, now this is going to be a little difficult to explain, but I had to do a little hardware hacking in order to make it work. Let me show you the problem, if you will. Here's a pair of Atari paddle controllers, and these are original classics. I got a little ribbon around there, but these are original 70s paddle controllers, and as you can see here, the plug that goes in there, you got the pins. By the way, the pins there's nothing wrong with the pins on that one. I thought there was, I mentioned it in my video. But it's actually the plastic housing around here that's the problem. If you plug this into an Atari, everything's great. This will not fit. And this was what the driving looked like originally. This won't fit in that port. It simply will not go in there. I tried, and it reaches a point. What happens is the plastic hits this outer edge here, and oops, this outer edge here, and will not go in. So that's the problem. I kind of realized that by checking on another controller I got for the Vectrex. Fantastic machine, this. I will be doing a review another time for this thing. I got the Overdrive controller. This is from Fury Unlimited, same fellow who does a whole pile of Vectrex games, great stuff, and a bunch of different controllers. I mean, I guess I'll put his website in the description below. But he made this as a little steering controller for a lot of the racing games for the Vectrex, and it works great. And again, I'll do a proper video for this later. But what's significant is when I got this, I noticed on that same controller for the Atari, he actually shaved little bits off here. I don't know if that's going to come up in the light, but he actually took a knife to make those fit. And if you look at the profile here, there's like a little V indentation. And that's when I realized, oh, I've got to do that with this. So I did. I took a knife, just like George did from Fury Unlimited. Took a knife and just shaved these little corners off. That's all I did, and now it has the same kind of profile where there's just that little taper, that little kind of sawed off edges. And now this thing fits in here like a charm. It just goes right in. There we go. It's in. It works perfectly. No problem at all. So let me show you what the gameplay is like. Now, I guess there's really no way that the designer of Tsunami could have fixed this. To make it a proper Tempest game, you have to be able to fire, but part of the Tempest game is you also need to be able to do the Super Zapper. You need 2 buttons. That's just part and parcel of the game. And unfortunately, the Atari driving controller has 1 button. So you're never going to have the same control. Like, I would have liked it if I could have just done this for playing the game. Would have been fantastic. That would have been the Tempest experience. But unfortunately, not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. But what it does do is I can use both controllers together. I can ignore using the joystick. I can use the spinner with one hand and the 2 buttons with the other hand. It might seem a little awkward, and it's not perfect. I think I saw somebody online had actually strapped these 2 things together in like a shoebox to make it a little more like a Tempest controller, but I'm not going to do that. So let me show you now. To change it from joystick, I need to go down on here and choose spinner, and then I'm going to see if I can, yeah, number 4 launches the game. I'm going to try spinning and shooting this way, and you'll see what I mean. Here we go. And as you can see, it works. It works really, really well. I'm very, very happy with it. And this is the part where, as I say, I'm kind of glad they didn't make it as fast as Tempest, because you can't really keep up with this kind of awkward control scheme. It's not conducive. If this was a fast-paced game like real Tempest was, I think I'd be dead 5 times over before getting past the first level. Like, you really need those guys to be going slowly. So it works out very, very well. Just make sure I don't die here. And I'll go through a couple of levels here. You can see they've really done a good job of recreating all the different, well, not all the different mazes, but a lot of the different mazes from Tempest. Yeah, you got the circle, the square, you even got, and there's that thing that's usually pink in Tempest that splits into the 2 red guys. They've done a good job of recreating Tempest here. I was going to put an overlay out. I've got a few that have got like a concentric ring circular shape, but none of them really worked. Most of the overlays I had are, gotta concentrate. Most of the overlays I have got a circular shape here, not off-center down at the bottom. So I actually opted against using an overlay, but you could probably do so. And all of these levels definitely look like they do in Tempest. So now I'm beginning to wish I had the controller attached to a shoebox, because it's a little slippery. Oh, there we go. I think I've only got 2 lives left. So yeah. For a homebrew attempt at getting Tempest on the Vectrex, which we all really want, this is pretty good. Having a spinner that I can also use for the Atari, and having this kind of a setup, it's pretty close. Not great, but you know, something I'm very happy with it. I'm glad I got the spinner. In fact, I'm gonna actually do some videos of other games you can use the spinner on for the 2600. We all know there's like Indy 500, but there are a handful of homebrew games that use the spinner or the driving controller, and they're really excellent. There's one that's like an interesting Pong game where you would rotate this thing all around the maze. It's hard to describe without you seeing the game, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be posting some videos of showing other things you can do with this driving controller. For $5, I'm certainly not complaining. And as you can see, this is getting a little hairy now at this level of the game. I think I've only got 1 life left. And it's not going to go well. I'm running out. Okay, yeah, that's going to be my downfall, and I've used up all my super zappers, so let's see if I can at least get... Ooh, I'm surprised I survived that one. Alright, let's see how far we can get. Very impressive, though. The the lines on this one... Oh, the lines on this maze don't match properly, but that's okay. I'm still very impressed, though, that we have anything even remotely like Tempest running on the Vectrex. Just, it seems like a match made in heaven, but the Vectrex is not as powerful as some people like to think it is. I mean, I've posted some questions around about why isn't there a battle zone for the Vectrex? You would think that's a game just born to be on the Vectrex. Apparently, that kind of 3D design, and we're not talking terribly complex. Battlezone's a very simple game in many respects, but it's apparently something the Vectrex just really can't handle. Well, there we go. 30,091 points. Not bad. Certainly a lot better than I would get just using the joystick. So, yeah. The Atari driving controller. It does work on the Vectrex. It just requires that little shave off the connector. And for use in Tsunami, you need to plug it into port number 2. I was trying port number 1 the whole time. And obviously you need to select spinner on the controller. It works. It's great. I'm very, very happy. And if anybody else wants to pick up one of these and try this thing, just shave those little edges off and away you go. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you down the rabbit hole.